Hello, I am Amber Meyer, Soul Alignment Coach and the creator of the Akashic Angel Healing Academy, which teaches you how to read the Akashic records and communicate and work with the angels for healing. That's really designed to help you awaken your intuitive and healing gifts. And joining us today for our Awakening series is the Akashic Angel Healing Academy graduate, Georgia Ryle. Georgia is a spiritual empowerment coach and energy healer, and she specializes in helping women heal and thrive by revealing and clearing limiting beliefs, negative past experiences, or karma that's holding them back from living their lives fully. So, Georgia has all sorts of certifications. She is a certified life coach, she's a certified health coach, she's a Reiki master, and of course, she's a certified Akashic Records reader and angel healer, and as a graduate of the Akashic Angel Healing Academy. Georgia's from the Deep South, from Mississippi. She's married with 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 3 dogs. That has to be enough to keep you quite busy, Georgia. She also has a love for counted cross stitch, reading, listening to and playing music, singing, laughing, and going on adventures with her family, as well as walking outside in nature. So, Georgia, thanks for agreeing to come on and share your soul awakening story with us. I think awakening stories can be just so inspiring and help us not feel so alone on this journey. I hear from people all the time, they're like, I don't know who I can even tell this to because they're going to think like I'm crazy, that sort of thing. And so it
Yes,
just, it helps people understand that they're not alone, they're not crazy. There's other people that really understand them. And I think it's so helpful to learn about what helps others, because it can really help our own path. And I think it really can inspire us and give us hope and direction in our own awakening journey. So thank
definitely.
you
Yeah.
for coming on today.
Glad to be here. So glad to be here. And yeah, and you were definitely part of my journey. So
Well, I thought it would be fun to start off by asking you, what does awakening or like to awaken mean to you? Because I think that can mean so many different things to different people.
well, to me, it is actually intentionally realizing that you have the gifts and intentionally using them.
Mm.
So we all have intuition, but most of us like put it on the back burner and we use it, but we really don't even know we're using it. We just think we're logically figuring all this stuff out. But when you finally discover that gut feeling you're having or that tightness in your chest, is not just a physical reaction that you're having for whatever reason. It really is trying to tell you, your body trying to tell you something. And so that's what awakening is to me. It's just when you finally realize that your body is giving you all these signals and you learn how to use those signals and you intentionally use them versus just coincidentally using them or uh, using them, but not, without realizing you're actually using them.
Yeah. So like consciously being aware that
Yes.
we're all intuitive. I think that that's a really important piece that
Yeah.
I think that you pointed out is like we all have these gifts. It's just I think most people live their lives without ever stopping and recognizing the gifts that they have.
My mother is like that. It was really funny because she worked for an attorney for 40, 45 years. And we would be watching a news program or she'd be reading the paper and it would be somebody got murdered or somebody was kidnapped and she would say, oh, well, so-and-so did it. We'd even be watching a movie. Oh, so-and-so did it before the movie got started good. You watch, I bet you this is what happened and this is where it happened. And I'm like, how do you know? She said, I don't know. I just know. You just watch. Or somebody would walk in the house, oh, and she would tell me about them. And I'm like, how do you
Hmm.
know whether somebody's good or not, or they have good intentions or don't have good? She says, I read people. I know how they are. But she didn't think of that as an intuitive gift. To her, that's just how it was.
Yeah, yeah. That's I think that's how a lot of people are. And maybe they just even just blow off that they're just having random thoughts, right?
Right, right.
Well, tell us a little bit about your awakening journey.
Well, I've always been intuitive but I was unconsciously using my intuition. I didn't call it my intuition. I called it a gut feeling or
Mhm.
I just know I need to do this, some things. And when I consciously started noticing my gifts, I was going to prayer meetings, and in that prayer meeting, we would have music and singing, and then we would have that we would talk about some of the scriptures, and then afterwards we would have a prayer circle where we would pray over somebody or pray over intentions. And typically when we prayed over somebody, one person would sit in the middle. We'd take turns sitting in the middle. People would put their hands on that person and we'd pray over them. And I noticed that my hands would get really warm as I prayed over them. And I thought, that's interesting. And one night we were talking about the spiritual gifts. And if you'll look at 1 Corinthians, I think it's 11 through 14. I believe that's where it is. The gifts are like, speaking in tongues, interpreting the tongues that are spoken, healing, and I can't remember them all right now. That's just silly. Anyway, so I said, I did, and wisdom, and discernment. So I said, God, I really want to have the ability to heal people. And I want to be able to discern things and to have wisdom to know when to take action or not to take action, or when to help people, not help people. And so that's really when I started noticing my hands getting warmer and warmer whenever I would pray about people. I'm like, well, that's really interesting. So fast forward about 15 years, I was in this coaching program, and she was talking about stepping into your higher self and making decisions. It was a business coach. And so she would have you sit down and really go inside and talk with your higher self and your customers or your clients' internal a higher self, and just letting them have a conversation to help you decide how to do your marketing, or even what to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, okay, well, that's really interesting, because really that boils down to your intuition and listening to it. And then the next coach I had was literally an intuitive life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And she was absolutely amazing. And she really intentionally got into teaching you about your gifts and how to use them. And then from there, I met some of my classmates and started working with them. And one of them was a Reiki master teacher. And so I learned Reiki. I was attuned Reiki master by her. And then she was talking about, oh, well, I'm learning how to read Akashic records. I'm like, oh, I've got to do that. That just has been coming up and coming up and coming up. I said, I've got to do that. And backing up to the prayer meetings years ago, one of the things about that group was we always talked about angels.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like, I always visualized angels up in our loft, in our balcony, and just kind of flying around the top. That's just how that church felt to me, that
Mm-hmm.
there were always angels in there. When you walked into that particular church, it always felt amazing. I mean, you came in there and it was like, it was one of those type things. But I could always visualize the angels just like singing with us and up here, basically flying around our heads, but also up there singing. And it just felt very joyful. So anyway, so when she was talking about the Akashic record readings, I'm like, oh, I've got to check this out. So here comes Amber. I took her Akashic record reading course, and I was absolutely amazed, because really and truly you helped me recognize more, get more intentional with what I was feeling and seeing and hearing and knowing. And because up until that point, I was feeling and hearing and seeing it, but I didn't realize that's what that is. Those were my gifts coming out. And because people would always talk about, oh yeah, I felt that, I saw that, and I'm like, what are they seeing? What are they feeling? And you kind of explained how you receive information. And I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, like really break it down,
Really, really,
Yeah.
really. And so then when you brought the angels into it, I'm like, I am in heaven now, because this is intentionally putting them in there with me to let them carry the load versus I carry the load.
Mm-hmm.
I invite them. We have a session. I'm told what they need, and then the angels come in, and the angels will say, oh, this is what we're going to do. And sometimes I'll kind of guide them where I'd like them to go. Then I'm like, why are you telling them what to do? They know what to do. Let them tell you what to do, you know? And so then I got to the point where I was just witnessing and then telling my client what was going on. And it was always amazing what their reaction was, because they then in turn could see it themselves or feel it or hear it or whatever, you know. And so that has been just an absolutely amazing journey. And so really, and once you've had your eyes open, you can't close them, you know. Once you've been expanded, you can't go back. And I don't want to. I love it because I feel like I'm really stepping into who I truly am.
Mhm.
And I can help more people by using these gifts than I ever could with just my mouth and my hands. So
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Like it just sounds like over, a period of really like a few decades, it sounds like you had these experiences that just kind of like opened your awareness just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more as you went.
yes.
I know from talking with you before, you had a few health issues come up for you in the past too, that really helped you start to move in this direction too. Is there anything you'd like to share about that?
Yes, and what was really funny about that is I didn't even recognize it as using my gifts at that time. But and when I was 40, I found out that I had hypothyroidism.
Mhm.
Um, and it was pretty bad, but I didn't know that's what it was at the time. So I went to the doctor and I said, look, I know y'all keep telling me this is not my thyroid, but I want you to check this. And they're like, but you know, the insurance is not going to pay for this. You're going to have to. I said, I don't care. I have got to find out what is going on with my body, because it was bad. It was like my cycles were never regular, hadn't been regular since I was 16, never could figure that out. I had issues getting pregnant. So I always had to do something to get pregnant. And so the blood pressure was going up, the sugar was going up, everything was going in the wrong direction. I'm like,
Mhm.
there is something wrong here, and all you're doing is treating symptoms. I need to get to the root cause of this.
Right.
And so when he did the test, that's when I found out I had hypothyroidism. And so they got me on Synthroid, the synthetic stuff. And so I did that for about 10 years. And then that last 2 or 3 years of that 10 years, I was gaining weight. I was getting lethargic. I would get up in the morning, take a shower, and do whatever I had to do, exercise, coffee, whatever. Because as soon as washing clothes, anything. Because if I sat down, I could not get back up. I
Oh
just
my
did not
gosh.
have the energy to do anything. I mean, it was just miserable. And thank goodness I wasn't working at the time. I mean, not thank goodness, but thank goodness I wasn't working at the time, because I couldn't have made it at work. And I had gained probably 40 pounds at the time. And I was having these horrible pains in my heels. It was like stepping on knives every time
Mm.
I walked. And I was getting cramps in my calves and my lower back. And I looked like I was pregnant. I really did. I hate to go back and look at pictures, because I looked like I was 6 months pregnant. I'm 50 years old at this time, and I'm going, I I am not pregnant, but this is horrible. And I tried, putting the girdle on, and all that did was like emphasize it even more. So those commercials where they show you putting those things on and you go from this to, don't believe it. So anyway, I said, fine, I'm giving up. I said, I'm not giving up on myself. I'm giving up on a traditional doctor. I'm going to a functional doctor who will do things outside of the box, outside of what the textbook says, so that I can figure out what's going on. So I found this wonderful nurse practitioner in Jackson, and she ran some tests and found out that I had Hashimoto's. It had got to the point of
Mm.
Hashimoto's. And if you don't know what Hashimoto's is, that is where basically your body's attacking itself. So your immune system is attacking the receptor points for your thyroid. So even though your body may be producing all the other things it needs, your body can't take it back in.
Oh.
So your body's basically attacking itself. But that causes a lot of other issues too. Your thyroid really regulates a lot of things, and I was freezing cold all the time, and it regulates that too. I'm like, seriously, your heart, your sugar, your cortisol, your body temperature. So she got me off of the Synthroid and onto a more natural thyroid medication. She also found out I was gluten sensitive. And so she encouraged me to start a more, I guess you call it a natural diet,
Mhm.
get off the processed foods, get off the Diet Cokes or Diet Dr. Peppers or whatever you're drinking. Start eating more natural foods. So start eating real vegetables, real fruits, real meat, real dairy products. Stay out of those middle aisles. Just stay around the outside. If you got to go to the freezer section, that's fine. If you got to go to the can section, be really intentional about what you get. But try to stay with the real stuff, not the man-made stuff. Well, in 4 months, I lost the weight, and my Hashimoto's disappeared.
Wow.
And so I told my traditional doctor that, because I was still going to him for other things. And but I also knew I was only 50. I'm like, he's wanting to add more medicines. I don't want to be 50 years old and I've got a shoebox full of medicines I'm taking. So I went back to him and I said, I had Hashimoto's and it's gone. He said, no way, you can't get rid of it. I said, okay, let me show you something. I showed him my original labs. I said, this is where I had it. I said, it showed him my new labs from 4 months later. I said, this is where I don't have it. And his jaw hit the floor. He said, I got to learn more about that. And so but where my intuition played in there was when I made the decision, there's more to this than high blood pressure, pre-diabetes, high cholesterol, fatigue, pain, depression. It's much, much more than this. And all you're doing is treating symptoms. I've got to do something else. And it was that intuition, my internal doctor, I guess you could call it, that said, you've got to go find out the real root cause of this. And once I did that, my blood pressure went down back to normal. I'm usually like 120 over 80. And at that point, I was like 145 over 90 and couldn't get it down. But I got it back to 120 over 80 or 70. My weight still goes up and down. That's another story altogether. But it's not because of my thyroid anymore. It's just other things. But I'm able. I have the education now too, because like I said, I went to be a health coach after I went through all that, because I knew I could help myself and I could help others do the same thing. But once I got my thyroid back working, I'm still on thyroid medicine, but it's a much lower dose. And that was such an amazing journey to learn that I could take care of myself. I could listen to my body and know what I needed to do. And I could cure myself with food and movement and by listening to myself. And so, whether you can cure yourself or not, that's not even the point. The point is going to the doctor or just knowing in your body that something's not right. I need to I need some attention put on this. And if I'm not getting the right attention from this doctor, I need to try something else, somebody else, maybe another type of doctor, or just another doctor who's a little more open to listening to what you're saying. But you know your body better than anybody else. You know your body better than any doctor that's, even if they've been in medicine for 100 years and they went to school for 20. They cannot tell you what's going on in your body as well as you can. So I'm preaching here. Sorry about that, but I got to preach about that one.
No,
Listen to your body.
I am so glad you shared this story because I think it's a really powerful example of, I think, of how a lot of awakening journeys start for people. A lot of times they have some struggles that they're having either with their physical or their mental health. They find that all the things that they're doing doesn't seem to be making a difference, that it's only treating the symptoms and not getting to like that core issue that's below. And I think that that's part of the awakening journey, helps you understand what is that core issue that is keeping you here. And I have some, similarities, not with like thyroid or Hashimoto's, but I really started kicking off my awakening journey with struggles with my mental health and with fibromyalgia, and just like feeling like I was just like hitting rock bottom and just couldn't seem to find anything that was helping me. And that
Yeah.
was how I eventually fell into Reiki and then followed all the breadcrumbs to where I'm at now. So I think a lot of people listening probably are like, oh yeah, any of
And
these.
I'll be honest, I am not knocking a traditional doctor. They are awesome. They're wonderful. You know, I've got them in my family. They're amazing, but they are so busy. They don't have time to listen to your whole story.
Mhm.
It's just like, I've given you 10 minutes of my time and then I got to go to my next patient because I've got to see 50 people today, you know. So I'm not knocking them. They do the best they can with what they've got to work with. But just know, if you feel like there's something else, something that needs to go deeper, please do. Please go see somebody else. Love on your doctor, but go see somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Well, so you've shared with us a bit about how you and I ended up connecting, and you started to learn how to read the Akashic records and how to bring the angels into that work. Um, how has that worked? Helped you in your personal life, with your business? Where has that led you?
Well, for one thing, it's made me more intentional about talking with my angels. You know, I tend to pray a lot anyway, but now I intentionally call them in when I need more support, or yeah, every once in a while I try that parking lot. Hey, can I get a parking space or closer? You know, but the funny part about that is a lot of times I don't get it because I know I need to walk. So I'm asking for something I know I really don't need. So, you know, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. And really it depends on whether I'm in a hurry or not. You know, if I need to get in and get out real quick, then I will get that parking spot. But yeah, I feel like I have my own support team,
Mhm.
which really feels good. I always felt like it, but really now I'm more aware. That's the biggest thing. Y'all pay attention to this word awareness. It's when you become aware is when your whole world opens up. Aware, be aware. Awareness is very important. Intention is very important too, but you have to be aware of it before you can even set the intention.
Totally agree with that. Awareness is like, it's everything starts with
That
awareness.
is the magic word right there, aware.
Awesome. So how are you helping people now? Like, I know you, with some of your own health struggles, you started off as a health coach, and then you moved into intuitive life coaching. Where has all this work led you now?
Well, what I'm doing now is, well, I still work with people with their health, and so what I'm have found out is all this is this beautiful blend. So when you get all these skills, and by the way, I'm also adding hypnosis and NLP to this
Of course.
mix, because I feel like this is just like I'm making this beautiful recipe here, you know, and it's like it's this ball of energy that's just um, getting more beautiful and bigger and more powerful. But I want to help women and men. I'm not excluding you, but I just like working with women. But if you want to come in, you come on in too. I'll be glad to work with you too. Um, we women tend to hold ourselves back. We'll get in a rut, or we'll say, "Oh, I'll do that later. My children come first," or "Oh, I'm just, it's not the right time," or um, I'm just not ready. I'm not good enough. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too whatever, you know. And so we have these dreams, and we don't always allow ourselves to go for our dreams or just to enjoy life fully, whether that's in your health, your family, your relationships, your job or your business, we tend to not shine our light as bright as we possibly could. And so my job, what I want to do, my intention is to help women break out of that mold that they put themselves, or that rut they put themselves in. You know, whatever your stuff is, whether it's limiting beliefs or you believe it's karma or just bad luck or just not enough time or whatever. My intention is to help women break out of that, break through that, and live that life and shine their light, because we're all powerful human beings. We all have a light to shine. We all have a purpose. Whether we believe we do or not, we honest to God do. We just are on this earth, not just to take up space. You know, everybody here is we're all unique. That's why we're unique, right? So we all have our own role to play. Are you playing it fully? Or are you just sitting back here waiting for somebody else to do it for you because you're not good enough, important enough, whatever? No, that's not true. We're all meant to be that person who shines. And so that's what my intention is to coach people through that and create a breakthrough in their life so that they're shining their light as bright as they can. Whatever piece of their life that's where they want to shine it, that's where I want to do it. Or if it's all of them, we'll work on all of them. But that's what I want to do. I want those women to be beautiful and bright and shining and powerful.
That's powerful. It makes me think too about all the conversation we're having about being like more conscious, more intentional, more aware, and I think a lot of people get stuck in these ruts because they're not even aware of what their thoughts, beliefs, actions, behaviors are even creating in their life. And it sounds like you're really helping them kind of excavate and, like uncover all of those different things so they can really have this like conscious, intentional, like empowered life.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we certainly need more of that. So you were telling me that you have this really cool new 6-week breakthrough program coming up too. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So along with my Akashic record reading and angel healings, I am going to be opening this 6-week program, and we call it the Breakthrough Program. I don't have an official, well, I do have an official name, but I don't want to spoil it just yet. But it's going to be this breakthrough program where you come to me and we work through the process of getting you from that, I really want to have a better business life, or I really want to be shining, I want to have a stronger relationship, or I want to just be this person that I'm not right now, but I don't know how to get there. I have no idea. I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm strong enough, good enough, old enough, young enough, pretty enough, whatever. And so I want, through that 6 weeks, we're going to work on that and break you through to the other side where you are shining your light, being your beautiful, powerful self. And so it's 6 weeks. I'm going to be talking more about that in my group and on my Facebook page. So come join me on there or follow me or whatever. And but yeah, that's my next program. And we're going to be sprinkling in some Akashic record readings and some hypnosis and all kinds of good stuff as I see fit in there. But it's going to be fun. But it's going to be work. Don't let me fool you. It's going to be work, because if you want to, if you want to shine a brass bucket, you got to put a little elbow grease in there. So you're going to have to do a little work. We're going to have tasks that you're going to have to complete, and you're going to have to be honest with yourself. It's not going to, I don't want you coming in and wasting your time and my time. I want you to wave a magic wand and fix me. No, this is going to be, we're going to work together. You're going to have tasks. You're going to do your task, and you're going to break through and shine and be that bright, shining light for the world to see. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And I think you bring up such a good point, is like this work is not always easy. It can be fun for sure and enlightening, but it's not always easy when we do this deep work. A lot of times we have to look at challenging things that have created the situations that we're in. We have to like really step out of our comfort zone and into some fear to get to that magic that's on the other side.
Yes.
And I think that's why people oftentimes they need that partner, that coach to help them through it, really be that person to support them and help them hold themselves accountable with it too, because
Yes.
it's really easy to hold ourselves back in those situations, I
Yes,
think.
it is. It really is. And it's kind of a shame that we do that. But, sometimes it takes somebody walking that journey with you to
Mhm.
encourage you to make that change. Um, and the success is on the other side of that fear. What you really, really want is on the other side of that fear.
Mhm.
And we see that fear as this huge mass in front of us,
Mhm.
when a lot of times it's just a very thin veil.
Yeah.
It's not like a giant rock in front of you, although that's what it looks like, because that's what it wants to look like to protect you.
Mhm.
But when you walk through it, walk around it, walk over it, it ends up being just this really thin veil that, oh, that's what that was.
Mhm.
I could have done that years ago. It wasn't time. Now it's
Mhm.
time. Now it's time for you to step forward. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think fear actually has a really powerful place in our lives. Like, I know a lot of people will like, ask their angels to like take the fear away from them and help them move forward. And really, what I've heard from angels is like, don't ask for the fear to be taken away. That's what you have to push through to be able to see how powerful you are, how
Yes.
capable you are, and
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
the wisdom and the growth comes from. And so they're like, don't ask us to take the fear away because we take the gift away. Like, ask us for courage instead.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So where can people find you, Georgia?
Well, my website is georgiaryle.com,
Mhm.
GeorgiaRyle.com. And I also have a Facebook group called Healing, Alignment, and Shift. Lots of fun. And of course, I'm Georgia White Ryle if you want to look me up on Facebook. So, and I'm eventually going to get a YouTube channel that I'm actually going to do something on. So, but right now, those are the places to find me.
Awesome. Well, when I share information about this interview, I'll make sure to include the links there too, so people can join your Facebook group and check out your website too.
Oh,
So,
I'm on Instagram too. I'm
oh,
it
good.
so I'm in a few places.
Yeah. All right, we'll make sure we share that all with
Okay,
everyone, kind of so they can find you no matter what platform they're on.
wonderful.
Well,
Thank you,
thank
Amber.
you so much, Georgia, for sharing your story. It's been a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people will listen to this and have a lot of similarities in how they
Yes,
got to where they are. So,
yes.
thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. And by the way, if you're interested in Akashic record reading, Amber is the one to talk with, and join her. She's absolutely amazing. You will learn so much, and you will learn to trust yourself so much more. But thank you so much, Amber. I truly
Um,
appreciate being on here with you.
Thank you, Georgia. And thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. We will be sharing more awakening stories with you soon. And so until then, sending you all lots of love.